All right, guys, what is your favorite kickoff time for a football game, college football game, of course? The Fan Show guys are in here for TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. Lee Cruz making his debut. We got Kelly Adams, Matt Browning. I ask you guys, what do you guys care? By the way, comment below.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock
6
start?
o'clock.
Yeah, 7 o'clock games. Yeah, 7 o'clock games if we're at home, and then 11 o'clock on the road.
I don't think I answered on the show. OB answered. To me, it depends. If I'm working, I like the 11 a.m. game because I like to be home by like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, right? Because I don't like to work until 1 o'clock in the morning if it's a late game. If I'm watching as a fan, I think I love an 11 a.m. game to get me ready for the main game for me, the 2:30 game. Yeah. All right, so on the show today, we had the Go Hour, Stephen McGee. He joined the show. He was great as always. Jim Schloss, he had to call us, so I didn't want to bother him today. The game was supposed to be at 9:35. I'm like, he's not going to want to do his Thursday hit. Should have checked in with him. He texted me, hey, I'm ready. Let's do this radio hit. So we had Schloss on the show. Aaron Torres was on the show. He was great. And Gerrod Chadwell, obviously the women's golf team. What a run there in the NCAA tournament. All that is brought to you by T-Mobile / across America to learn how to get more value and coverage through T-Mobile. Fan Show guys say, watch now.
Watch now.
Watch now.
Watch now.
I'm Ron Burgundy. A little bit later on today, kickoff times are supposed to be announced for the early games this season, the first month roughly. So I'm just curious, from your playing days, what did you prefer, an early one? And as a fan also, like when you watch a game, do you prefer the early ones, the afternoon ones, the late ones?
Yeah, I think as a player and as a fan, I enjoy the like 1:30, 2 o'clock games. I guess 2:30 college. I always think of it as like 1 o'clock Eastern. So it's the noon kickoff in the NFL, but it's not too early. The 11 a.m. I felt like it was almost too early for an athlete because you're up pretty early at that point, and everything's kind of operating around breakfast time. And I was never really a morning person as much, and so that afternoon kickoff was perfect because then it's not a super late night either. The worst is when you're on the road and you have a 7:30 kickoff and you're back home at 3 a.m. Especially whenever you were coming home after a loss, like we did many times, and so it makes for an even longer night.
Stephen, tell me if I'm just full of bull crap, which we'll get to later. But I always thought that the 11 o'clock kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff was maybe not preferable, but just better if you're a visiting team, and the late kickoff was better if you were a home team. Because I thought if you're traveling, you just let's just get the game, let's go and get it over with.
Yeah, I mean, you're not sitting around the hotel all day either, right? That's a big benefit. It's pro con, depends on where you're playing as well. I think how far of a bus ride do you have to get to the stadium? Some of these places you go to, you'd have to commute an hour or hour and a half. So you're staying, where's it, Manhattan, Kansas State? Like you'd have to stay way down the road and then drive in, and then you have to fly out. I mean, there's random airports that you would have to, fly in out of. It's just a mess, right? So I agree with you, OB. I think it's there's something to it.
So I think we had you on the show before Jimbo's comments on Thursday of last week. So it's been a week. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about how the whole thing went down last week and up until, I guess, the last time Jimbo spoke about it was Friday night.
I love that he stood up to him and spoke his beef he had about it and protected his own guys, protected his team. And look, I said this last week and I'll say it again. To act like Nick Saban has not cheated to get to the point where he is a lie. Nick Saban inherited that Alabama program, 2010 roughly, and they were just a middle of the run college football program with no real allure compared to some of the likes of like a USC or a Florida. And here they are able to bring in some of the best players in the country. And certainly Nick Saban is a good football coach. I'm not going to take that away from him. But he was not a good football coach in the NFL. Right. And so I know that that's a different mentality, and some coaches are not built for the NFL. That's certainly Nick Saban, because he's a jerk, right? I mean, he's a jerk to his assistants. He's a jerk to his players. He's a terrible guy to be around, but he wins football games, right? And so that's why it works for Nick Saban. And the reason I feel confident saying this is because Jason Garrett was under Nick Saban at Miami. And so I've heard all the stories. I know the reality of what it's like to coach and to play for him. And so, look, there's no need to beat a dead horse here, but to act like Nick Saban is guiltless here and that he's not out there paying players and that Alabama's not cheating, that fan base, they're absurd. He's mad because they don't have as deep as pockets as A&M does, especially when oil's at, $110 a barrel. We're pumping cash in this place. And so we're willing to do whatever it takes to win a football game. And I love that about A&M. We're doing it within the rules. And so right now, being able to pay players is not illegal.
Coach, how important is winning there now? And tell me I'm crazy, but is there any advantage to actually, losing and coming home and start getting ready for the tournament? What is your thoughts on how this is all playing out and what's best for Texas A&M?
Yeah, I mean, we need to play. I mean, baseball is not a sport you can just shut down and expect to. I mean, our choices would either be to come home and inter squad and have practice, or to, play here, as long as we can. I think the line is, at what point, to how much stress level do you put your team under, versus trying to win versus trying to versus the risk of not putting yourself in the best interest to or the best possible situation to win next weekend. So, I've been a part of winning these things and moving on. I've also been a part of, in 2015, went 2-0 in the Big 12 tournament and went to the World Series. We all know last year, Mississippi State was 10-run ruled in their 2 games here, and they won the national championship. So we have to play. I mean, I definitely want to play at least one game, and prefer to do that today. And then we'll just kind of take it from there. But to answer your question, I'm definitely going to try to win the thing without jeopardizing next week.
Jim Bronny was reporting that there's been some whispers that it could become a one-game elimination tournament. Have you heard any clarity on that, or how things are trending in that direction or not?
I haven't heard anything this morning on it. I know it was discussed yesterday. I think every coach in the tournament was asked their opinion of it. Obviously, a team like us who feels pretty confident in at least being able to play next weekend, I'm fine with that. Whereas a team that needs to play as many games and win as many games obviously doesn't. So I think if we get games in today, then it'll probably remain a double elimination tournament. If we were to get all or most of the games not played today, then it would make sense to go to single elimination.
Yeah, my whole thing, and I hate to rehash something we talk about all the time, but I keep saying this. Why do people say something bad had to, or something fishy had to have happened? Did Jimbo Fisher recruit at a 35th level for a long time, or has he been a top 5 recruiter his entire coaching career pretty much?
And here's the other thing, and you guys must deal with this all the time. Did they vacate Jimbo Fisher's national championship?
Must have.
Like, he's the only, like, we hold coaches to a standard of, well, they won their national championship winning coach. And I understand there's guys that have fallen off, like a Gene Chizik, even Coach O. I think Coach O, like, he had 9, 10, 11 win seasons outside of the national championship year. So, like, Jimbo's the only one that it's like, yeah, I mean, he won a national championship, but. And it's like, what do you mean, but? There's no but. Like, you won the national championship. Like, they got the trophy at Florida State. They're not taking that thing back. And, like, that's the other thing that amazes me. Now, maybe it was the BCS era. Maybe it was, people only that's the part that it's like, that national championship doesn't count. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and I've said this a million times, but one, if Washington State or Purdue or whatever had signed the number 1 class, that'd be one thing. Oh, by the way, here's one other thing. Now you got me all wound up like a toy here. Do people not realize, like I always say, A&M signed this class coming off one of the best seasons in school history. Do they not understand that the vast majority of recruiting happens prior to the player's senior year? Like, that relationship is established as a sophomore. You go to camp after your junior year. You get offered after your junior year. We're going to have camps here and so most of these players, the recruitment picked up coming off of a 9-1 season when you're on the cusp of a national championship. So between all that, plus this idea that somehow Jimbo Fisher's national championship doesn't count, it's like, what are we even doing here? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. By the way, did Oklahoma have a really good year last year?
No, yeah,
Okay. Did Texas?
9-3, 8-4.
Did Texas have a good year?
That's another one.
Okay,
that's another one. By the way, yeah. No, you're right. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I'm done. I wanted to hear your thoughts.
No, Texas. My thought is Texas did not have a very good season last year. They went 5-7. They lost to Kansas. I don't know if you remember when they lost to Kansas. I was on air when that happened. Yeah. But number 5 recruiting class, but that's perfectly normal.
You guys have, you started in June, okay? We're not even a year, okay?
Oh, man. Should I retire now?
No, there's no way you envisioned it this quick, right?
No. I just wanted to be competitive. And, the 3 young ladies that joined us this summer, Haley, Zoe, and Jenny, were a big part of our lineup. Mm-hmm. And, it pushed the girls at home. I think it pushed them. I just wanted us to be competitive and just to start to make a name for ourselves and bolster recruiting and everything else. And I don't know what show it was in here. I said something happened in January at that match that we played out in Arizona when we beat Baylor in Southern California, and just the belief that you started to see. And did I envision, getting to semifinals in January? No, but I knew that we could make a run. And yeah, I'm already excited for year 2. I'm on a plane tonight going back to Phoenix to recruit. So
look at you.
We're ready to go.
Do you write notes of what works, what doesn't during a year, and have something to go back to?
Yeah, there's some things that I saw, that just can help us in our training and everything that we do to get for 365 days from now. But chemistry is so huge, and when you have 5 girls that get along, and it's no offense, women, just having them get along is important. And we saw that start to happen, and we kind of stuck with that lineup there in the late part of the spring. And there's some things that we have, but a lot of stuff went well this year than it did wrong. So it's nice for them to have that taste of what it takes to get back. We'll always be able to refer to that next year, and I think our jobs coaching will be a lot easier.
You said things went well. I think a hole-in-one, maybe on a couple of occasions.
Young lady had 2. She had 2. She had
Talking
one.
About Blanca.
Blanca had a hole-in-one in practice round 13, and then it's funny. Oregon's so good, and we had our chances in that match, but we just didn't putt it well enough, and we weren't clean. And Gio was in my ear on the radio saying, Blanca's running hot, she's upset, she's giving away holes. And I was like, all you need is one good thing to happen, and it can turn the match around. And honestly, winning a match is hard to close people out because you're that close, and so you're playing with that pressure of closing out a match. I said, you just need one good thing to go right. I'll be darned if in my ear, about 15 minutes later, Blanca just had a hole-in-one. I was like, well, that's a pretty good thing to turn around a match. So we just ran out of holes. And, Oregon's a great team. Heck, Stanford's even better. But, the cool thing about our program, to go along kind of with the story, this is just year 1. And what year 1 means is, you had Auburn, you had Oregon, you had Stanford in there, and those coaches have been putting together classes for a long time. And so this is just us getting out of the gates, and we have a great 22 class put together. We have a great 23 class put together, and getting on a plane tonight to start working on our 24 class. So I'm excited what this looks like in 3 to 5 years from now.
All right, my favorite part of this. So Lee, you say you've watched the rewind.
I have.
But let's be real honest.
You
don't watch it
not
at the very
not
end.
every time.
No. Yeah, I don't even watch it every. In fact, I don't think I've ever watched.
I've never watched it.
I'm in it, so when I watch it, that'd be weird, right? Hey, I'm watching myself.
Oh, I'm good.
Never mind.
That's just so you can see how good your beard looks.
All right, so what are we supposed to do here?
Yeah, so Lee, what we ask people who've never
I
done
have
it.
no idea.
Have you watched a YouTube video before?
I have. Yes.
Okay. Usually, what they tell the audience to do is like, comment, subscribe.
Okay.
So can you tell the people to do all that?
Tell me when you're ready.
This is all part of the show.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, we're actually on the air right now.
Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to TexAgs Rewind.
There, see, he's got
Presented by T-Mobile.
Presented by T-Mobile.
You didn't have to do that part.
He's already done this right one more time than I ever have.
Well, this is true. All right, for the fan show, guys, we will see you guys mañana.
Hasta luego.